Good morning, good morning. Welcome to another beautiful day. We are on day 19 of my parenting challenge this week, and today we're going to be looking at inadequacy, when kids are feeling inadequate and the behaviors that come from there. So there's a learned helplessness here with these kids. They try to avoid things. These are the kids who might give up too easily, right? If they even try at all. The underlying driving force here is that these kids typically don't feel very courageous, or they don't feel very successful with things. And they might in some areas, they might feel really successful over here with hockey, but maybe not with writing. But, over time, they just feel like they're not getting through things, and they're likely getting very discouraged. It's easier not to try at all, right, than to try my hardest, make myself vulnerable, and then fail again. The hardest part of these behaviors is this is really the most extremely discouraged kids. This is the hardest place for them to get to. These kids usually lose hope. And especially when we start looking at school or in certain situations where they just haven't had a lot of success. They've tried everything that they can to be successful, but they're just met with failure after failure, nag after nag, reminders of how they're not meeting expectations. They feel like they are continually letting us down or others down, right? And so they're starting to feel worthless. The only thing to do now is just to stop trying altogether, right? To avoid disappointment, disappointing others, disappointing themselves. These are, like I said, really extremely discouraged kids. They weren't born that way, right? Think of your kids when they were 1 and 2 and they were happy and confident, taking on the world. They were fearless. But unfortunately, confident kids, over time, they hear enough messages over the years, starting from a very young age, that they can't do it. We inadvertently say things like, sorry, bud, the swing's too big for you, or, hey, kiddo, let me pour the milk, you're gonna spill it. Even recently, my daughter was asking my husband if she could help with something in the garage, and he's like, you know what, I better do it because I don't want you to get hurt. And hearing these messages, we're telling our kids over and over again, you can't do it. You can't do it. And so of course they're going to get discouraged. We're also sending messages that we don't trust their judgment. When we tell them they need to dress warm, make sure, go put a sweater on. We're always telling them those types of things that they need to do. One that I'm bad for is I'm always telling my daughter, you need to eat more before you get up from the table, right? Or we're always fixing things. So I think I've used this example before. I would have my kids help me decorate the Christmas tree, but then I would go and fix things, if they had too many ornaments bunched up in one place. Or if we decorated a birthday cake, it's like, okay, they go and I go and fix it, right? Or if they make the cake themselves, the first thing we might say is comment about the mess. You better be cleaning up that mess before we ever comment about our pride. Wow, look at the cake you made, right? How thoughtful you were. So if you're like me, you might also comment about your own performance. I'm a bit of a self-perfectionist, I guess. And there was one, maybe not one Christmas, probably many Christmases where I'm trying to do everything. I'm doing the turkey and I'm doing potatoes and I'm doing everything. And then, of course, inevitably I burn something. And then I will say, I'm so stupid trying to do everything at once, right? Because I burnt it. But the message my kids are hearing is that I think people are stupid if they're not doing it perfectly. Right? So inadvertently, these kids are picking up these messages in so many ways. And sometimes we're focusing on the outcomes of things. Wow, you did that perfectly. Wow, you got an A. Let's go celebrate. Right? Again, we're only focusing on the perfection, on the best. That comes with a lot of anxiety because I do have kids who are gifted or straight A students. And that anxiety to stay at the top and to be perfect and to be to the best, that's a hard bar to hold up to. We can't always do that. So the antidote to discouragement is encouragement. We need to be careful that our encouragement doesn't accidentally breed discouragement, though I see this all the time. Like in classrooms, for example, there's sticker charts and all these rewards, and the discouraged kids, the ones who need it the most, usually are never earning them. It's always the good kids who have got the skills who are able to get those things, right? But the kids that we're talking about never meet those benchmarks. It's just too far to ever get it. So why even bother trying, right? Because I'm never going to get it anyway. Or sometimes we overpraise. We overpraise everything and then kids are just rolling their eyes. It's not coming across genuine. So there's a fine balance here. Encouragement doesn't necessarily it doesn't come from stickers and rewards, right? Some kids do need those for the extrinsic reinforcement, but it's not necessarily encouragement. It comes from what we say and do in everyday situations. So letting them try those things that we might normally say no to, right? sometimes we need to keep a watchful eye, but maybe they do ride that swing and saying, I like how you're holding so tight, right? Or I like how you're holding that milk. You're pouring it really slowly and really carefully. Maybe it's scaffolding. When I was out in the cabin a couple of weeks ago, my daughter wanted to cut some wood, right? And rather than just throwing her in with a power tool, I set her up with a handsaw. Let's start there, right? With younger kids, if they want to use a knife, maybe you're using a butter knife instead of a sharp one. So we're still allowing them to do things, but in a stepwise fashion. Or teaching our kids rather than telling them. So if it is cold, maybe it's a matter of me saying, oh, it's looking like it's going to rain today. I'm going to bring my rain jacket just in case. What do you think you're going to wear? Right? So they're starting to problem solve and think for themselves about what they're doing, but then giving them that opportunity to, follow through and trust what they think is going to be important. And trust is a big piece. I was talking about making my daughter eat just a little bit more before she can leave the table. But we got to let them listen to their bodies and know when they're full, right? Because otherwise they're going to have eating issues later on that I got to clean my plate. So starting to trust them, hey, you know what? I acknowledge that you're recognizing that your body's full. Good listening to your body, right? And I do talk to my daughter about that quite a bit. But with the exception, if they're just trying to get away from dinner, if you're hungry later, that's what you're going to get, right? So we're not creating other behaviors. But these are the types of things that we can start doing. Now, when we start doing these things and encouraging them and letting them do the things that they want to try, they're not hearing those messages that they can't do it, right? And they're hearing those messages, they don't need to be perfect. We're going to try, we're going to see how it goes, we're going to tweak, and we're going to learn along the way, right? Even if they make mistakes or messes, they are appreciated, and what they do is appreciated. And so we need to give lots of opportunities, right? And I'm always talking about creating opportunities where they can be appreciated. And then we got to highlight our appreciation. With my daughter, I find lots of different ways. I need her help because she's so amazing. Whether it's calming the dogs, right? Or being a dog walker, making the best dessert. She's amazing. Knowing how to organize things and tidy up. She always has lots of great ideas. She's got the funniest jokes. She can make anybody laugh. She's the best little sidekick. If I'm down in the dumps and I got to go to the grocery store or do things, she's my best little sidekick to have. So it's showing those appreciation. And there's so many ways that kids can contribute. And so no, maybe she doesn't like putting the utensils away, right? Maybe she doesn't like vacuuming, but there's so many other things that she could be doing to contributing. And they just need help seeing that. So for today, let's encourage our kids. Let's build their islands of competence. And they need lots of islands of competence, right? So look out for as many opportunities as you can, focusing on their strengths, wherever that is. Promote self-sufficiency by letting them lead life, right? And taking over control, giving them more responsibility with important things, and letting them be exactly who they are, right? We have this bell curve of where kids should fall. Let them create their own bell curve of where they need to be. Show appreciation for what they do and trust their decisions. Show your confidence in them. There's lots of ways you can show your confidence. So, and even just thinking of when they were learning to walk, right? It was always, yeah, you're doing it, you're doing it. Now, if you do that with your teenager, they're gonna be like, what is your problem? Like, what is going on, right? But those are the types of things that we need to continue doing, right? So go have a wonderful day with your children, find lots of opportunities to encourage them, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.